Back on this Sunday morning, Inside Tennessee, with 3 candidates in District 6 for Knoxville City Council.
Folks, I want to ask you, I have started hearing more from people who live in the 6th District, concerns about gentrification and people pushing folks who already live there out as they move in and maybe develop properties, housing as an example, and make it harder for the people who live there to continue living there. I'm curious whether you think that's a problem in the 6th District, and if it is, how you would address it. And Gwen, if you don't mind, let's start with you.
Absolutely. So gentrification is something I think that every city, especially surrounding a downtown area, the urban area, has to be very cautious of. So absolutely, are we seeing that? That's been a topic of conversation for the last 4 years. I think the way that we look at that is, how do we help people become homeowners? How do we help people be positioned to be able to buy their property or keep their property if taxes are an issue? We see a lot of homes that are taken due to taxes, but the influx of people who are coming in from out of town, who are paying, making cash offers on homes is absolutely exacerbating the issue. But I think where we start is we look at, how do we help people be able to stay in their homes? And I think that goes with financial literacy and working with mortgage lenders and banks. And so that's part of what we're going to look to address with the African American Equity Restoration Task Force as well.
Thank you. And Garrett, would you take the question?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a sticky situation, but when we look at what is the biggest driver of generational wealth, that is typically derived from the equity one has in a home. So a lot of those families that have historically been in some of these East Knoxville neighborhoods that we're seeing gentrification occurring, while the tax burden they might be experiencing, some of their costs of living might be slightly going up, they are also at the same time experiencing a massive increase in that wealth store. Now, at the same time, we need to, like Gwen said, we need to be addressing the underlying factors of, how people can afford homes and afford home ownership. And I think that goes back to the idea of, we need to promote economic development, attract jobs, attract growth within the city of Knoxville, within the 6th District specifically. Right now we see in the city, expenses are growing 3% a year, revenues growing 1%. We need to turn that around by attracting growth into our economy. And like I said, with the stadium, I think that's a potential massive catalyst to do just that. If we want people to, have the ability to afford homes, purchase homes, maintain this ownership, we need good jobs. We need financial literacy. We need stronger education within our community to help support that. I think, it's addressing those underlying factors that ultimately contribute to one's financial well-being and promoting that as best we can as a city government.
And Deidra, what about you?
Absolutely. Home ownership is a way to generate wealth within communities. And that is such an important thing within District 6, who is experiencing a high poverty rate and being a small percentage of city of Knoxville. So yes, home ownership is definitely something that we need to look into. But that's why we have to be a little apprehensive and do a little bit more research when we discuss development such as the multi-use stadium that is coming, because that could also be another factor of gentrification and displacement within communities, because prices will go up. We're already seeing that. I think Knoxville is almost like number 2 on receiving 90% profits from selling homes and those that are buying it. So that's why I support people like Kanika White, who is trying to invest in those community members who want to keep their home and or sell their home, but making sure that they are getting the profits and the things that they need so they can continue to create wealth within their family. So yes, home ownership is definitely a great place to start, but that's why we need to be a little bit more apprehensive when we talk about development such as a multi-use stadium, because it could also be another way to displace communities that currently sit within the 6th District.
Folks, and I just have one more question, and we've got about a minute and a half, so if you could keep your answers a little tight. As you go around and you talk to the constituents that you want to represent, please tell me what you are hearing is their number one problem. Deidra, we'll start with you. What are you hearing is their number one concern?
The multi-use stadium is the number one concern. And I'm going to also go into gun violence and making sure they feel safe and their kids feel safe within schools. But yes, the stadium is the number one thing that I'm hearing out here.
And Garrett?
Yeah, I spent the last 4 months pretty much every day going out in the community, talking to residents, and by far the number one thing I hear is crime and safety. Especially in the East Knoxville community in the 6th District, people go to bed, hearing gunshots at night. They have family members and loved ones affected by this violence, and it's something that we just as a community cannot stand for.
Thank you. And Gwen?
Violence hands down, it's the violence and crime that we're seeing not only in the district but across the city. It's creating a lot of trauma for people and families, especially our children, and so that's one of the major issues that I'm hearing.
Gwen McKenzie, Deidra Harper, and Garrett Holt, we appreciate your time this morning. Best of luck to all of you, and we hope to see you again down the trail. Thanks again, and have a great rest of your Sunday. We're back with our talk around right after this.